Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today, we're going to talk about Bitcoin, a critical time upon us. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. We also do the premium list. The price on that is probably going to go up a couple hours after the release of this video, so if you guys want to lock in the lower rate, make sure you do so. Now, why do I say a critical time is upon us? Well, here we are, my friends. After watching the valuation of Bitcoin go all the way down to lower than $29,000, we said that is the summer lull, the time to be DCAing into the market. Remember, when the market is bearish and heading down, while it seems like a silly time to buy, a lot of people would rather buy as the price is going parabolic and whatnot. But this historically is a great opportunity to buy whenever you get these major pullbacks in the market. Okay, and now, after that pullback, what has happened, right? Well, Bitcoin had a significant bounce off the 50-week SMA. We moved up. In August, we had our September shakeout, which is basically what we said is a very likely scenario. And then we held the line. And I told you, after we hold the line, we should be able to see clear skies ahead. And I believe that. I do believe we have clear skies ahead. Now, maybe there's a couple clouds, okay? Maybe there's a couple clouds in the sky, and it's not a completely clear sky. But the only cloud I think is just this one, and we have to ultimately break through it. And I do believe Bitcoin will break through it. Okay, it just needs what does it need, right? It just needs time, and we will break through it. Time is on our side. Okay, so if Bitcoin puts in another 10% gain this week, then clearly we're going to break the prior all-time high. Now, we should also consider the possibility that we hesitate here for a little while. I mean, and I'm not even fully convinced that's going to happen. I mean, it's taken out 3 of the prior local highs that we saw earlier this year. We had 3 major moves. We had 58K, then 61K, then 64K, and then we had another bounce over here back up to like 59K. 3 of those have already been wiped out, right? We already took those out. The only one left standing is just below 65K. So could we get rejected on the first attempt? Yeah, we could, but who cares, right? It's like, who cares? That it's irrelevant. And some people are leverage trading out of their ears. Look, that's complete nonsense. It's so much easier just to sit back and enjoy the show. As I said before, right? Over the next several years, I would expect your portfolio to grow. You don't always have to time the tops and the bottoms. You just need to take it to the show. I do believe that as well. If you constantly leverage trade, you're playing with fire. And the problem is that the opportunity cost on what you might lose today is so high. Because, I mean, again, think about it. Like, people were losing a lot of Bitcoin 2 years ago leverage trading, and maybe they didn't think much of it because it was only worth a few $1,000s. But now, for every Bitcoin they lost, it's now worth $62,000. So there's a huge opportunity cost in losing your Bitcoin. So remember to respect your Bitcoin and treat it with the respect it deserves, because it does deserve your respect. Now, when we look at this market, we are coming in on the prior all-time high, and we are in our 4th weekly candle in a row that's green. That's green. Okay, 1, 2, 3. We're in our 4th that's green. Clearly, it's too early to say if this one is going to close green or not. And the thing is that of course there are bears calling, somehow they're still calling for valuations to go back down to $10,000. I said months ago, I don't think we're going to those levels. And they have consistently redrawn their lines every step of the way. Okay, they used to say they'd be bullish if it were 51 to 52K, then they changed it to 53, and then 55, and then 57, and now 59, 60. And then now that it's above all of their trend lines, now they just say, well, really, it needs to put in a new all-time high. So the point I'm asking is, well, what did you gain by saying all those lines? Like, what was there to gain in your analysis from all the random imaginary lines you drew on the chart if you were just going to disregard them anyways the minute Bitcoin broke above it? Have some conviction, right? The bears should have some conviction in what they say. If they want to say these things, then it should be somewhat black and white. If this, then that, right? If the Bitcoin price gets above their prior trend line, which they said would turn them bullish, and then they don't get bullish, they just keep changing the line in the sand, how is that useful analysis? Well, it's not. It's not useful analysis. Not at all. And the problem is, I see full of crypto Twitter as well. The problem is that no matter what happens, even if we get a pullback in the short term and it comes back down and then comes back up to break it later, even if that happens, the bears will use it to claim they're right, right? They'll use it to claim they're right. And in the short term, they'll get some street cred and everyone says, oh yeah, like, you know, it was a double top and whatnot. But then they'll still probably be wrong, right? I mean, why? Because time is on our side, and it's just a matter of time, in my opinion, before they're definitively proven wrong. Here's the other thing. Okay, they've been bearish for the last several months, and I was bearish back over here, if you guys remember. I'm not saying it's bad to ever be bearish on Bitcoin. I know there's a lot of people in crypto that subscribe to the up-only mantra, but I was bearish back over here in April and May. You guys know that. I said we're too far ahead of schedule. We need a lull in the market in the summer at the very least. I said 3 to 6 month lull in the market. That's more or less what we got. And so the problem is that no matter what happens, the bears who are calling for 10K, even if the price does go back down and goes back down to these levels, which I really don't think it would, but even if it did, it still doesn't change the fact that they missed out on quite literally a 100% gain. They watched the price of Bitcoin go from 28, 29K all the way to 62K while screaming it's a trap every single move. I'm guessing now they're going to be screaming it's a trap all the way to 100K. All right, they'll probably scream it all the way to 100K. After we pass the prior all-time high, they'll still probably come up with some type of analysis that it shows why it's bearish. They'll probably say, oh, well, you know, a double top, maybe the second peak could be higher than the first one or something. Or maybe they'll say the dead cat bounce can somehow go higher than the first bounce or the first move up. Look, we've seen this time and time again. Okay, every time the market drops, there's always going to be people calling for lower levels. Okay. And I told you guys a few weeks ago what I wanted to see. I wanted to see us hold the line at the bull market support band. If we hold the line, we should have relatively clear skies ahead. We held the line. This is a key distinction between prior cycles where we in fact did not hold the line after bouncing off the 50-week SMA. We did not hold the line here, and we went into a long bear market. We did not hold the line here, and we went into a long bear market. We did hold the line here. We had one weekly close below, but we did not have a weekly close. We did not have a weekly close and a weekly open below in 1 week. We did not have that. But we still got right back above the bull market support band, and we had another leg to the cycle. And then over here, we didn't hold the line at all at the 20 week. So the point is the last two cycles, we failed to hold the line after we got the bounce off the 50-week moving average, and it ushered in a long bear market / accumulation phase. And I do believe in the future, Bitcoin will have bear markets and more accumulation phases. It'll last more than just a few months, okay? But I said back in May, I think a drop is coming, but I think the lull in the market is only going to last 3 to 6 months. I said it back then. I even put out a video saying there's different types of bear markets. I don't think that this is going to be a long bear market. At just 3 to 6 months where we see lower prices for a while, and then we'll ultimately be on our merry way to higher prices, okay? So now we are still knocking on the door of the prior all-time high. So I just want to talk about a couple different scenarios here to be on the lookout for. All right, so scenario one and how to navigate it. Scenario one is in the short term if we get rejected by the prior all-time high. So let's suppose we go up to the prior all-time high and we get rejected. You're going to see a lot of people claim that they were right and that the 64K is the market cycle peak and this is just a double top. Before they do that, if this plays out, before they do that, you should also remember that they basically, I never saw them call for a double top when we were over here. They never called for that. Even over here, they were not calling for this other move back to the prior all-time high. This was never called upon, okay? This is only now being mentioned that all of their other lines were completely wrecked. That's the only reason it's being mentioned. So if they claim victory, if we get a short-term correction off of the prior all-time high, just remember, that doesn't change the fact that they missed out on this move, and they're going to grab onto every ounce of being sort of correct that they can, because again, the bears have been wrong for a very long period of time now. So just keep that in mind. The second scenario that I see is not a correction here, but a move to a higher price in the next month or two, right? I mean, let's say we break the prior, maybe less than that, right? We break the prior all-time high, and then we start to come back down. And they're still probably going to say, I told you so. Even in that scenario, they'll still probably say it. But just remember, they'll be saying it all the way up to whatever the new all-time high will be. Then after the drop, they're just gonna rinse and repeat the same thing. And I've said before, there's nothing wrong with being bearish. I myself am a Bitcoin bull, but I keep a couple panda bears next to me to keep me in check. And that's the reason why I was bearish over here. I would dubiously speculate now that I will become bearish on Bitcoin again, but it needs to put in more work, right? It needs to make another move to the upside. And then I'll probably be bearish again. And again, people will probably not like it. And a lot of people will turn against me and say, oh, you're just, FUDing Bitcoin. But I don't think that's the case right now. For me, worst case at this point is we come back down and then we just continue higher and then break it later on. That's worst case scenario that I can see. Yes, that's being somewhat deterministic. We do know it's a possibility that we go down this way, but we've also seen before that anytime we've held the bull market support band as support, we've always historically been putting in new all-time highs. We've always been proud ourselves to new all-time highs and beyond anytime we held the bull market support band. And we also know that anytime we held the bull market support band as support, we've never gone below that price as well. So that's something to consider too. So right now, I look at this market and I say, you know what, Bitcoin's trading at around 62K. Could we go down and test some of the prior levels? Yeah, of course we could. And I'm sure the bears will use it to claim they were right. But it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. They've been wrong. They've been wrong for a long time now. They've already missed out on a 100% move. And I think rather than having some conviction and just saying, well, you know what, we were wrong, and we watched it go from 29K to 62, 63K, rather than just admitting they were wrong, they are going to just stick with the narrative, and then on any slight pullback, they will in fact claim victory. So be on the lookout for that. Don't let them spook you. They try to scare people all the time. At least Halloween's coming up, right? But if you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Also check out the premium list, intothecryptoverse.com. Prices are going up in a couple hours. Make sure you check it out. You get access to weekly reports and videos, the Telegram alerts channel, Telegram chat room, the risk dashboard, the Into the Cryptoverse app, trading view indicators, and more. Intothecryptoverse.com. Subscribe, click the bell icon to turn on notifications, and I will see you next time. Bye.